Hello, everybody. It's Dusty Sage here at MiceChat.com, and I am with Suzanne Lee, and we're going to do something a little bit interesting today. I have Suzanne at Disneyland, and I am across the street from Disneyland at the Anaheim Hotel. This is the start of MiceChat Gumball Rally weekend. Tonight, we have a special event all about the 1964 New York World's Fair. And that event is going to be spectacular, but because it starts in just a couple hours, I have to be here to set up the room. And there's a lot of action going on right now. Kind of see in the background that we have a huge theater set up. Hasten, Monorail Man, is setting up the audio visual. Here's a Mice Chat booth here, photo op. We have Bob Gurr is going to be here. Chris Merritt, the Imagineer, will be here. We have David
Chris
Koenig
Trump.
coming. It's really an amazing thing. Here's actually, look, that's Walt's jacket from the 1964 World's Fair. It'll be a photo op. All sorts of neat things happening here. And Suzanne, are you excited to show us what's going on at Disneyland?
I am.
Excellent. Then I'm going to turn it over to you, and thank you. We'll be back here. Hopefully, I'll be able to introduce you to some of our panelists tonight when they get here, but they're not here right now. So we're going to Disneyland.
All right. Thanks, Dusty. Let me turn this around. And all right. So starting off here at Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Right now, it's blue skies and sunshine guaranteed. Yesterday, it was not that way. Yesterday, it was pouring buckets. Well, Wednesday night into Thursday. And then it did clear up on Thursday. So Disneyland actually was a pleasant day yesterday. But here's what's on everyone's minds. What's going on at the Haunted Mansion? We really can't see much here, but let's take a look over here at the walls. These have gone up since last Friday. The lenticulars from the portrait gallery. Hopefully you can see it changing from the storm to not being all torn up. There's a QR code here that when you're in the park, it'll send you over to the PhotoPass lenses in the Disneyland app. There's all these sayings on the walls, which is a nice touch. I'm going backwards, so the sayings don't really make as much sense as if I had started on the other end. But here you see the concept art for what the queue is going to look like, the 3 different garden areas, one telling stories of the one-eyed cat, one telling stories about Leota, and one Master Gracie, I think it is. This is May to December, the lenticular. Hopefully you can see that changing. There are several prominent ghosts who have retired here from creepy crypts all over the world. All right, the other day I was standing in front of this, and I kid you not, somebody walked by and saw the skeleton on the horse and said, "Oh, look, it's Jack on a horse." Sorry for the shakiness. I don't have the gimbal today. It's just me holding my phone in my hand. So sorry about that, folks. All right. The only thing that's left right now of the crypts are these. So we're approaching where I should have started, where it would have made more sense, where it says our tour begins here in this gallery. And then there's new signs here to try to get people to get their bearings as to where they are in the park. Royal Street and New Orleans Square. Shopping and dining. to New Orleans Square and take a look at some of the Mardi Gras decorations. Oh, we can look back at the Mark Twain that's coming out of its major refurbishment. I believe next week it will be back on the rivers of America. All right, so here we have signs telling you where the restrooms are, where the pretty stars and the moon and the tree. It's kind of nice right now. The lighting is taking effect.
I'm drained.
I see Red up there heading up to the former Disney. Once again, for those of you just joining, Dusty's over at the Anaheim Hotel getting ready for tonight's event, celebrating the anniversary of the 1964 World's Fair. And you guys are stuck with me here at Disneyland. It's Suzanne. Today, the only thing really of note is that Magic Happens has returned today. So hopefully on my way out, we'll get to see a little bit of that. Let's see if we could get a wave from Red. Hi, Red.
I was like, they also wanted this time.
Maybe not.
The other thing too is you can see it right. You see.
There's the treehouse. Here's what the Pirates queue looks like at the moment. There's Red.
'That was nice being able to walk. Yeah.
What do you think the chances are that Indy is operational at the moment? Let's find out. Maybe we could check in on the little man of Disneyland. Let's see, is he home? No lights are on. Oh, but Indy is working. That's a switch. Golden hour is coming on. You can kind of see the Matterhorn up there with the pink and the sunlight hitting off of it.
Yeah.
30 minutes for Jungle right now. The queue is upstairs. There's the elephant that used to be in Candy Palace. I don't know if it's because of the wind and the rains, but a lot of the tarps and scrims that we saw last weekend were not covering the buildings today. So you could see a lot of the work that was going on them. Just new paint jobs mostly. Oh, there's the Matterhorn, looking beautiful.
Okay, so I'll just pick you guys up and everything's around.
Let me just stop over here so people can see it without it shaking. And the castle.
Jeremy's gonna give Becca this.
Let's see what kind of balloons they're selling right now.
Is it very crowded with people waiting for the parade?
It doesn't look terribly crowded right now. I mean, there's definitely people waiting for the parade, but there's still decent viewing to just walk up. We can see the Astro Orbiter across the way. Not much has been added to it since last week.
With all the threat of rain today and throughout the weekend, does it seem like there's lower crowd levels today?
It hasn't been that busy from what I could see. I mean, I just got into Disneyland, but at DCA, it wasn't that crowded today. Wait times were all under an hour for everything, it seemed like. So in Disneyland, it's very easy to walk, even through New Orleans Square, which usually is kind of hard to walk through, but with Mansion not open. Oh, look, they fixed the sign. Jolly Holiday is all lit.
Woohoo!
I'm not going to take credit for that, though. The sky is so pretty. I have no idea what time it is. Let me know at what point we should get a spot for the parade. There are some Valentine's treats.
Hey, Suzanne.
Candy Palace. Yep.
I'm going to put you on hold for just a second because I have some people I want to introduce everybody to.
Awesome.
So give me just a minute.
I'll get a spot for the parade.
All right. So everybody, I'm so excited. I have behind me two legendary Imagineers. Chris Crump over there. That's
Hello.
Chris. And then Chris Merritt. So we have two Chris's, dos Chris's. Of course, I don't know how to, I'm doing this backwards, but there's no easy way. So we're just going to do this. I'm setting it down and then just get in there and we'll stand back far enough.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
people. So, of course, Chris had a 30-year history. Chris Crump had a 30-year history with Disney. Of course, his dad, Rolly Crump, and we did an event with him at the Bowers Museum late last year.
Yeah, November.
It was spectacular.
It was.
At that event, you mentioned that there was another Chris in the audience that had some exciting things coming up. And it was this Chris,
yes, he does.
Chris Merritt,
And he still does.
Also had a legendary history with Disney and now writes all sorts of books about the Imagineers and things.
Yeah.
And today, you guys are here to talk to us about the 1964 New York World's Fair.
That's
so
correct.
Why do I have all of these legendary Imagineers here for a World's Fair event? Because Walt Disney built 4 attractions for the New York World's Fair, and they're fairly iconic. So they changed the history or the trajectory of what theme park attractions could be.
Yeah.
And I know I don't want you guys to give your whole spiel away because that's exclusive. That's why you need to buy event tickets, people. So
Are there any left, Dusty?
None. We're sold out. We've been sold out since last week.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. Very excited about that. You know, a huge outpouring of interest. Sold over 200. We had 200 seats to sell and we have over that.
That's
So
great.
we're going to have people standing room
Don't
only.
tell the fire marshal.
No, well, we could legally have more than that according to the fire marshal, but we have a huge stage set up and some other things, so that's why only 200. And some folks will even be selling things tonight. Bob Gurr is here, and Bob never shows up to anything without selling
Bob's
something.
selling something?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I'm shocked.
Oh my God.
Shocked to hear gambling is going on.
I'd say that if he was standing right next to me here. Bob and I have known each other a really long time.
Bob's actually having lunch in the lobby right now.
I saw him, yeah.
It's so crazy, we throw an event and all of a sudden, the whole world, all the exciting people are here in one place. So we'll see if you all can get any stage time, wrestle it away from Bob Gurr.
You're the one with a heart
I don't
out.
I don't expect
At 9 o'clock.
I don't expect to.
Yeah.
There's no wrestling the spotlight away from Mr.
And
Gurr.
did you bring your Tower of the Four Winds?
I did. It's in my vehicle.
Awesome. So we're going to let him take care of that. And then tonight, you're putting on a whole audio-visual spectacular.
Yeah, it's a whole history of all four of the Disney shows at the 1964 New York World's Fair, and just the genius of Walt Disney, among all the genius things he did in his life, was to get corporate sponsorship to basically do R&D and development on furthering audio animatronics and furthering the art of theme park dark ride design and animatronic shows, and get other corporate sponsors to pay for it. And then at the end of the 2-year run, he boxes it all back up and brings it back to Disneyland.
Isn't that amazing?
Genius.
Free attractions.
Yep.
Wow. I have a question, because I've heard so often they say Lincoln was the first, human audio animatronic. But Carousel of Progress that debuted at the same fair was filled with animatronics.
Sure, and they're certainly not as sophisticated. And actually, there's one that predates that. They were going to do a Confucius figure for a Chinese restaurant on Main Street, which never went in. But the basis of that is what took them towards actually doing the Enchanted Tiki Room, because it was their first concept of doing a restaurant with animatronic figures, which those of you probably know was the original intent for the Tiki Room, and at the last minute they pulled the restaurant idea and just turned it into a show. But do you think
Confucius became Lincoln? Like, was it the same figure, or what happened to you?
Well, at some point they're working on it at a similar time, and there is actually 1 or 2 photos of both the Lincoln figure and the Confucius figure together in R&D at the studio.
So they made 2 separate figures. They didn't just change the face.
Yeah, and if you want to get really pedantic, all of Walt's early Disneylandia, like the Buddy Epson Dancing Man figure, those are kind of the first tentative steps towards what would become.
Wasn't the Dancing Man just like a tiny little?
Absolutely. Yep. So there's a whole history there. It's really interesting.
Buddy Epson. So he was from Beverly Hillbillies, Clamp It.
Yeah, and he was on Davy Crockett.
Yep.
So
a Walt favorite.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you guys. I know you have a lot of setup to do, and we do too. We're going to check back in with Suzanne in the park here real quick and see what's going on there. Maybe there's some magic about to happen. Suzanne, we are back.
Hey, so this is what the firehouse looks like at the moment. Magic Happens is getting ready to kick off at 5:30, but we have a little bit of time. You can see what City Hall is looking like right now. Looks like there's some wrap up there. They're putting new siding on maybe back there. So I think I can walk around to Mr. Lincoln, a fitting place to watch Magic Happens today in light of the event today. Here's the train station while I make my way over there. The crows are coming home to roost, that magic hour. No, you're all right. So gumball's happening tomorrow. If anyone's in the parks, come on by, cheer on the teams that'll be running through the park, walking through the park, doing their quest. I guess we have time to walk over to Mr. Lincoln. We can even pop in if it's open. All right, let's see if the connection stays in here.
In our feature presentation, great moments with Mr. Lincoln. We'll begin in 15 minutes inside the theater.
So the map is currently not here. They're still showing Once Upon a Studio in here in the Opera House lobby.
The story of an unlikely friendship that has transformed America forever.
They also have a really nice video about Frederick Douglass and his relationship with Lincoln. All right, let's head back out and get a spot for Magic Happens. Today is the return. Next month we have something else to look forward to as Wondrous Journeys returns on March 22nd. Much better than Mickey's Mix Magic that's going on now on the weekends with fireworks. Of course, the bench that inspired Walt to build Disneyland from Griffith Park. All right, let's see where we can get a spot. All right, just kind of duck under the rope. Thank you.
Magic Happens is about to happen. So exciting. You're in a good spot. Look at all those birds. It's terrifying.
Here's what you came for. This is the moment magic was made for. Come on, let's light up the sky now. You feel the magic happening right now.
Suzanne, I'm going to cut away from you for a bit because folks can go to Disneyland and see this parade. But I have another legendary person with me, so I'm removing you. And now Bill Cotter is with me, everybody, and we are getting all set up. So Bill has a lot of setup to do. He has a lot of books he's brought. But Bill, tell everybody, because they may not know you, you've really made a specialty out of the World's Fair.
Yeah, I had gone to it a lot as a kid, and 12 years old made a huge impression on me. And years later, I had the opportunity to go to work for Disney, and it really influenced me because of the World's Fair. So I went to work at I had a great job. I got hired on at Disney World. They moved me out to the studio. And I'd do a month at Disneyland, a month at Disney World, a month at Imagineering, back to Disney World. And I set up all the computer security, and then also made sure things like Space Mountain, the computer systems were safe. So had a lot of fun working on a lot of different projects over the years.
Incredible. And now you've had several books out about the fair. What was it about the fair in particular that really captured your interest?
I say optimism. When you went to the 64 fair, it was the time of the Cuban Missile Crises, everybody putting bomb shelters in their yard and everything. And you went out to the World's Fair, and it was going to be undersea hotels and take a vacation on the moon and do all these other things, turbine powered cars, and a computer is going to change your life. So it was so up. Everything was positive about it. When you're living in a world with fear, it was a real nice alternative environment.
It seems like a lot of the elements from the fair, they didn't just make their way back to Disneyland with the 4 big attractions, which was Small World, Carousel of Progress, Ford Magic Skyway, and Lincoln, which did come to the parks in one form or another, but that the fair inspired really all of Epcot, at least Future World. Yeah,
it was interesting. Becky Klein, the Disney archivist, and I were talking one day about what an impact the fair had on Disney, that if there hadn't been a World's Fair and the Disney shows, Walt and his crew may have never gone to the East Coast, because Walt had a concern about whether or not his, what he called corny humor, would translate to the big cities. When you saw people waiting 3.5 hours to get on the Carousel of Progress, he knew right then there was a market on the East Coast. So it became a big thing then to encourage them to go, set up Disney World. And then obviously, 10 years later, Epcot.
Incredible. Yeah, attractions like Horizon really echo your statement about we were going to be living on the seafloor and all that, which was what the whole point of that attraction was at Epcot.
Oh, I missed that.
And it really was inspired by the New York World's Fair, I'm sure of.
Yeah, there were so many great things. Disney originally had gone to General Motors and said, "Do you want a pavilion?" And they said, "No, we're way down the path, but you might go to Ford." But if you look at the GM pavilion with their Futurama ride, there was a lot of the elements of that later came out to be in the Horizons ride. So, and you just wonder how many things get planted. I know when I was working in Imagineering, we'd be working on something, and somebody said, 10 years ago, we had a project that didn't work, and you dust it, dusty folders or cobweb models, and the next thing you know, you're off and going again. I mean, we worked on one thing, for example, at Epcot to try to be a hang gliding simulation, decided it was too expensive, the technology wasn't there, and now we have soaring. So, it's funny how things 10 years later come to be.
Yeah, and come back again and again. The treehouse is back in a new way. So you never know at Imagineering.
Well, I'm still holding out for the Western River Expedition.
Oh, so. I'm with you. That, for those of you who are interested in knowing more about the Western River Expedition, look that up on MiceChat. Shelley Valladolid Fab wrote an incredible article, including some Mark Davis concept art from that attraction, which would have been Walt Disney World's Pirates of the Caribbean, sort of, but didn't happen. They ended up with a smaller version of Pirates. So sometimes Imagineering goes big, and sometimes the budgeteers say, too expensive. And that happens over and over and over again, not just at Disney, but
no, it's
everywhere.
Always a big thing. If you can get somebody else to sponsor, and we always called it OPM, other people's money. If you can get OPM on your project, you can do anything. If it's coming out of your pocket, you have to cut corners.
Right now, Tokyo Disney Sea is building this big expansion with 3 little mini lands, and that's other people's money over there. So I'm hoping it ends up here in the stateside parks. Excellent commentary. So we are going to have an incredible event tonight that none of you are going to see unless you have tickets. So in the future, when we tell you there's an event coming at MiceChat, don't wait to buy your tickets. Thank you so much for joining me on the live, and I can't wait to spend the whole evening with you. Go set up your table, have fun, and we'll be back with you in just a little
Great.
bit.
Thanks much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And folks, thank you for watching us today on the live, and thank you, Suzanne, for your help from the park. But I have to run now and set up our booth and our table and all the stuff back here. I'm going to give you a preview of our trophy for this year's Gumball Rally. There's the trophy. You can see it's the World's Fair with the Tower of the Four Winds and the General Electric Gumball Rally Land instead of Progress Land sign. There's signage on here. There are hidden Mickeys. There's a working gumball machine. Pretty cool stuff that we have set up for our rally teams this weekend. Suzanne, I see the ground that you're walking upon, but thank you, my friend. It was so great to have you help us out because I couldn't break away from the ballroom, even though I'm just steps away from Disneyland. And thank all of you at home for watching every Friday at 5. We'll do our best to be here come rain or hailstorms or tornadoes or, well, events. We'll be back with you again real soon. Try to follow along this weekend as we do a lot of coverage of Gumball Rally. That's MiceChat, social media. On Twitter, we're MiceChat. On Instagram, we're MiceChat. On Facebook, we are MiceBook. And we'll do some lives. We'll do lots of pictures, and you'll be able to follow some teams around throughout the day. Lots going on this weekend. On Sunday, if you're available and you have park reservations, come to the noon meet. So we will be at the Walt and Mickey statue at noon on Sunday, and you can meet up with all the Gumball Rally folks. It is a MiceChat anniversary meetup as well. So definitely come see us on Sunday to celebrate MiceChat and Gumball Rally. We hope you can join us noon Sunday at the Walt and Mickey statue in front of the castle. Suzanne, I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody. Take care.